My name is Ogaga Ifowodo. I'm a writer, lawyer, poet, and artist. No, not scary at all. A good morning, because the title poem is my reflections on the political calamity that befell us as a nation, June 12, 1993. Good morning as a new dawn to a new Nigeria that was emerging finally out of the shackles of military dictatorship. You remember that was when, against all the machinations of the military junta of the day, against all the attempts to deny us people our most important political right, which is the right to self-determination to decide our fate, people came out, voted, and the election was adjudged the freest and fairest in our checkered history, as you know, that we've ever had. But then, out of nowhere, mindlessly, callously, the military regime of the day, specifically General Ibrahim Babangida, capriciously annulled the election. So in one thoughtless moment, just annulled the will of the Nigerian people to self-representation. So here we were poised to say good morning to a new Nigeria, but then it was in an instant turned into a long mourning. So I see the June 12 calamity as social death. It's social death for Nigeria. And all deaths require a period of mourning to come to terms. I see June 12, that calamity, as a social death for Nigeria, because we were set back incalculable number of years. But to be honest, I'm surprised. When I was a younger writer, in fact, when I hadn't even earned the right to call myself a writer as a poet, I used to aspire, to be like the older writers. I used to crave their company. One of my best friends today and a mentor to me is Odia Ofemu. I used to, even Tan Road Jaidi, I used to be around, I used to like to hang around them. I sent some of my poems to Wole Soyinka, and then he wrote back to me, and then I sent another batch. I used to crave their society because I wanted to be validated. I wanted to prove myself. When I won the NLNG Prize of Poetry in 1993, I didn't care who I was running against. All I cared was that my manuscript was in there, and if it won, I would feel even doubly justified if I won against an older writer. I want to test myself against the older writer, the established writers, so that if I do measure up, then I will have the satisfaction of being able to call myself a writer. I don't want to compete with only my peers. It is, if there is a prize that is reserved for maybe only my peers, all well and good, but I wouldn't want to validate myself measure myself only against my peers. I want to measure myself against everybody who is writing, who calls him or herself a writer or a poet. That is what I would like, speaking for myself. And that's what I did, speaking for myself. So I'm surprised that anybody should feel that for one reason or the other, they cannot hang out with the older writer. They should be craving their company. They should be wanting to measure themselves against them. You don't put out a sign and say, younger writers, come to me. If writers come to me, I have. Okay, well, yes, I have. We all, as you know, get to read this manuscript or look at this poem, or people ask you questions. We do that, But it isn't as if one has to put out a sign. When I told you, when I was writing, I craved the company of older writers. I sent my poems to older writers because I wanted their opinion. This is something I did on my own without being prompted. My very, very first manuscript, 10 of the poems in it I sent to Wole Soyinka, and then he sent me a response. It is that response that I took those words on the back of my first collection, Homeland, and Other Poems from. I think highly of the poems he sent me. Then I sent another batch of 10 poems again, just to be sure that if I have a collection of, say, anywhere between 20 to 30 poems, at least 20 of them have been seen by no less, a writer. Oh, I'm going to win. The ancestors have told me in a dream that I'm going to win. Well, really, they are, as you know, in a country where the average person survives on less than $1 a day, $100,000 suddenly looks like an inexhaustible fortune. But it isn't. For instance, we know that we don't have a reliable public transport system. So everybody literally has to have a car. Now, if a writer says, finally, I'm going to say bye-bye, you know, to have you to commute on Okadas, you know, on Keke, Marwa, and so on, I'm going to buy a car. A brand new car literally takes care of all of that money, depending on what brand and what make you buy, you know. And if you wanted to build a house, okay, it's time now to build a house. Depending on where you buy the land, it may not even be enough to buy the piece of land. Certainly not in Lekki, you know, right? Even though Lekki is a swamp, you know. So there are a lot of worthy causes, but besides that, you know, I've long thought about things like a prize for poetry in a secondary school, because that is where I discovered myself as a poet. In my secondary school, Federal Government College, Warri, we used to have an annual festival of arts and culture, which included poetry competition among the houses. There are 4 houses: Independence House, School House, National House, Unity House. And in my Form 4, a 6th former just turned to me one evening and said, why don't you write a poem for our house, the Poetry Festival or Festa? I hadn't before then ever thought of stringing 2 words together by way of a poem. So I thought about it and I wrote a poem. And it claimed the first prize for my house, Independence House. And I was required to recite it before all the entire school assembled in the assembly hall, which is probably the biggest audience I've had to read a poem to. So, some way of giving back. I would like to do something, you know, because secondary school, I think, is a very important formative stage in the life of any writer, because that's when you are beginning to think of words and take them far more seriously, beyond communication, beyond just learning to read, you know, but really going into what does this poem, what does this story mean, how does it do it? You begin to learn more of the formal properties of literature and language. No, I don't think I can really say there's a favorite here. I do like the poems because, of course, I wrote them. But perhaps what you would be saying is, which is a short poem that you could read. I'm going to read a poem called From Goma to Gwoza, taken from the section of this collection, A Good Mourning, where I look at the source ports of Africa: Liberia, Sierra Leone, Darfur, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, the Congo, and Algeria, and so on and so forth. And here I'm choosing a refugee camp in the Congo, and trying to bring it in touch with the refugee camp for internally displaced persons in northeast Nigeria, displaced by the Boko Haram Islamic fundamentalist insurrection going on there. I channel Chikaya Utamsi, one of the African poets I respect the most, who happened to have come from the Congo, in writing the poem in the form of an interview between the poet persona and another. From Goma to Gwoza. Chikaya's ghost called out to me one broad noon, muted by blood, carried by the Harmattan wind from Goma to Gwoza. And I answered with my mouth at the back of my head. What sort of people does our continent still birth? Same with their awkward heads, their madness and strange mirth. And I thought I was dead. And Mobutu? Dead now, but still king. His magic tutu conjures new wonders, too many to count. Pious speeches, suicide bombers, squeeze accounts. But Dubai has been favored lately. Holy wars, the mass graves of democracy. You should stop me, else I will read a book. Yes, stop. You must be from my country, with that perpetually pained look. The bell rang long ago, not to let the crime go on, to strangle the baby with his life belt. But who, rejoicing for the miracle of birth, could hear it, could snatch the child from the mother's breast and smash him against the trunk or the silk cotton tree? Mere words or naked villainy, we are past caring. Ko sera, sera. What suffering can be greater than today's? Tomorrow, I will beg a politician to lie to me, take 1 kobo from the billions he stole and vote for him, singing his praise all the way to the polling booth. Elsewhere, the world gapes at his vomit. Here, we kneel and put our mouths to it with greater gusto than the doomed dogs.